Hello, everyone. So in this presentation, we are going to continue going over the ethics of plagiarism. And we're going to look at examples. Now, I'm not going to go into the specifics of these examples. We'll do that with the next slide, or rather with the next presentation. Uh, but it's still helpful. I want you to get the labels first and foremost. Repetition, of course, is, is really good for memory. And so I'd like you to go to this website, http:// go.turnitin.com/paper/10 dash types dash of dash plagiarism. Okay. And when you type in this website, you're gonna come to this to the Turnitin website, and it should look like this. And what I want you to do is what we're trying to do is we're trying to access that form there in the middle, where it says tagging 10 types of unoriginal work. And to get that handout, you wanna type in the information that's there. Okay, you want to type in the information that's there, and then click the download button to be able to download that handout. So your first name, last name, campus email, school email, country, primary role, student, and school institution type, download. Once you do that, you should come across this handout here. And it's a beautifully aesthetic handout. And more importantly, what it does, if you look on, well, first on the left-hand side, it gives you these creative names regarding the differing types of plagiarism. But also on the right-hand side, it gives you the labeling, right, or the percentage, out of 10, how often students plagiarize. So it looks like the top three would be number one, clone. The second most plagiarized, or the second most common type of plagiarism is mashup. And the third most common type of plagiarism is number three, find replace. Number two, Control C, right? Okay, I got my head mixed up between the screen here and the handout. So you can refer to the handout, you can print it out, or you can follow along here on the screen. So moving along, let's look at the first one. And the first one is called clone, submitting another's work word per word as one's own. Now, this one is the most common type of plagiarism, and it's where someone gets on the net, finds a PDF, finds a doc document on their topic, and submits it. None of it is theirs, absolutely written by another author, yet they claim it as their own. You've cloned somebody else's work. You just maybe changed the name. And that is unfortunately, unashamedly, the worst type of plagiarism. It's the worst type because I mean, there's no sense of deception, right? I mean, I don't want you to deceive. I want you to do that either, right? But problematically, what worries me is the belief that you're going to be able to get away with this without anybody finding out. So, so keep this in mind. It is the most common. Please don't do it. And it's not difficult for somebody else to see that you certainly plagiarized. Okay. The second one, it's actually the third most common, is Control C. And this is where you won't necessarily take the entire work, but you're going to take huge or significant portions of that work and also claim them as your own. You got to be cautious, because even if you're only taking portions and you're not taking the entire work, you're maybe changing a sentence or a couple words here and there. Programs used by institutions, Turnitin, Safe Assign. Your paper goes through a database and it'll see the percentage of words that are not yours, or lack of proper citations that are not yours, and you can get in significant trouble. So that's Control C. Pretty close to number one, yet in this case, you just took huge portions. Number three is find replace. It's where you took the word. It's kind of similar to Control C, and maybe this one's a smaller percentage because maybe it's the labeling of it. It's maybe where you take a work and you say, okay, rather than copying sections, I'm just going to take the work maybe and change a couple keywords and phrases. But the work will generally, unfortunately for the assumed writer, the work generally stays the same. Okay. Number four is remix. This is where you paraphrase from multiple sources made to fit together. And when you first hear about a type of plagiarizing in this case, um, what's brought up or what's questioned is, well, gosh, I'm paraphrasing it. I'm putting things in my own words. So what's the problem? And when you put it like that, it sounds absolutely valid. What's wrong with paraphrasing? Isn't paraphrasing good writing? Because you're turning somebody else's idea, somebody else's work, and you are making it originally yours. And the answer is absolutely, that is good writing. But what's the problem? The idea is still not yours, and you're not giving credit where credit is due. You got to give credit. Yes, you paraphrased. Fantastic. That's beautiful. But you haven't given credit where credit is due. Okay? Yes, so one more time. Even if you paraphrase, you've got to make sure you cite it. Who's the author? Where's the idea coming from? Even if you're not putting quotations. Okay. Some of the best scholars actually do a proper form of remix, but with the citations. Okay. So I guess maybe a little feedback here. It's okay to remix, just make sure you cite. Okay. Number five is recycling. This one's just as interesting as number four because number five is you're citing yourself. So let's say you wrote a paper and you say, "Gosh, I did really good in that paper. I really like my ideas. Everything was awesome. Uh, it's great. So yeah, I'm gonna take my own work, and I'm okay because I wrote it. And it sounds correct. But let me give you an example. Let's say you're taking a semester, and the professor assigns a paper on, I don't know, the effects of capitalism on Mother Nature. Um, and and then you go the next semester and you write a really good paper. You get an A paper. Next semester, different professor says, write me a paper of the effects of technology on Mother Nature. Oh, I already wrote that paper. I just got to add a little bit more of the technology stuff, and I'll be perfectly fine. So you take your previous paper, and you just maybe add some stuff on technology, but you leave generally the majority by itself, and it was your writing, right? What's the problem there? Well, you've just recycled. You haven't really inputted the work, inputted the time to invest, and originally come up with new work. So keep this in mind. In education, that's the catch. There's a value of being original and investing and coming up with new innovative ideas. That's what it keeps the mind alive, right? Those brain cells lighting up. So that's important. Okay. The next one is hybrid. It's where you combine perfectly cited sources with copied passages without citation. So this one's somewhere in the lowest. Actually, I think it is the lowest. It's at 0.5, and it's where you'll unashamedly, unfortunately, You'll copy somebody else's work, word per word, and you think you can get away with it because somewhere in between you inputted a citation. Oh, look, so I'm gonna embed a citation in the middle there. Um, so you embedded a citation into work that was not your own to begin with. So even if the citation is perfect and you've done a very nice job of with the citation, it's still surrounding the citation or citations is just a lot of copying from somebody else's work. Okay. It's interestingly, it's the lowest of all citations. According to the handout here, it's 0.5 out of 10. Okay. Did I make sure I didn't skip one? So yeah. So number 7, this is the second most practiced type of plagiarism, and this is mixing copies of material from multiple sources. This is where so it's very much like cloning, but you're cloning from multiple sources. So think of it this way. So in number 1, it's you're taking a sheep, and sheep is from ranch X, and then you submit that sheep and you just put ranch Y. Okay. So to exemplify the allegory, you've in mashup, you're going to take sheep X, Y, Z, sheep W, X, Y, and Z, and you're going to submit it as sheep A. And sheep A is a product of sheeps W, X, Y, and Z. So you've taken the material from 4 sources and you've meshed it up. You like quilted it together. Okay. So if you do that, if you mix the material and you copied it from multiple sources, it's the second most common type of plagiarism. And even if you're taking it from multiple sources, it's still not difficult for professors to identify where you're getting this information from. So you got to be careful. Number 8, 404 error. This is where you'll take a citation. You'll actually, as a professor, and say I'm reading there, and I see the quotations there, and then I see your in-text citations or Chicago style citation or APA style citation, whatever type of citation. And let's say, gosh, that's a pretty good quote. And I go and I research the quote, and it's not found. It didn't come from that source. So it's like you took a citation, but maybe you didn't invest the time in searching where you got it from, and you just put a random citation there, from an author that had maybe nothing to do with that wording. Or maybe it didn't exist, you invented it altogether. So you got to be careful. This one too is low. Not a lot of students do this one. It's 0.6. Didn't even reach the 1 mark. It's a little, just slightly higher than hybrid, but it's still low. But if you're tempted to do it, don't do it, because it's still plagiarize. Certainly plagiarize. You're lying. Not only are you plagiarizing is a type of lying, right? You're claiming it as your own. So this is lying on top of lying. All right, number 9. This is called the aggregator, and it's where you cite properly. So let's say I read this paper, and from introduction all the way to conclusion, I see citation after citation after citation after citation, but I see no original work, not even paraphrasing, right? And you got to be careful. That's not good writing. Number 10, retweet is also have proper citations. Um, and maybe you do paraphrase a little bit more. But your writing is relying too closely on the author's original wording and or structure. It's like I can't even differ the structure between the two. Okay. Okay. Well, I hope this helps you. We went over 10 different types of plagiarizing, and in the next presentation, we're going to look at more specific examples. Okay. Thank you.